part of this is obviously a cyber war, a media war. I mean, I don't think anyone would dispute that in some way or another, Russia intervened in the U.S. election. I mean, what are we to make of that?
I mean, I can't weigh the evidence myself. I'm not, haven't been based there, but I mean, certainly there seems to be little doubt that there were Russian-based hackers that were involved in getting to Ms. Clinton's emails. And those ended up in the hands of Republican Party operatives. And there was a lot of media. I mean, I get a bit nervous when everybody keeps going, oh my gosh, they met the Russian ambassador. I mean, that's what ambassadors do, is they meet people. And frankly, it's a little bit like the hysteria you see in Russia during the last election season there. It was like, oh, the opposition politician met with Michael McFaul, the American ambassador. He worked for the State Department, obviously. And so that's not a healthy sign of a healthy democracy when we start to, A plus B equals X. But I happen to have spent the U.S. election day in Russia, because I thought it'd be an interesting place to watch it from. And the people I was interviewing, who were sort of foreign policy experts there, I remember one of them said to me, we were talking about Clinton and Putin and where the animosity began and what it might mean for these two presidencies, if what the relationship might be like if Hillary Clinton was president. And then I said, well, and what about if Donald Trump wins? And he said, well, then I have a lot of work to do because we haven't studied that. I mean, there was a deeply held belief that the American political system wouldn't allow, and not a belief that American voters were too smart to, but they thought that the Americans, they were cynical about American democracy. It was not going to, the deep state or whatever you want to call it, was going to stop Trump from rising. And whatever the Russian efforts were, I believe they're intended to damage a President Putin, not to bring about a President Trump. And they seem, and I was just there last month interviewing some of the same people, rather bewildered about how to deal with this president who tweets things that aren't the same thing the Secretary of State said an hour ago.
So basically you're saying Putin was not trying to help Trump. He was basically trying to hurt Clinton in hopes of damaging her presidency, that he didn't actually foresee any possibility of a President Trump.
I think, yeah, it might have been trying to help Trump, but I don't think they thought it would work. And to be fair, I mean, the KGB could not have created the Electoral College, right? I mean, that's that's what chose President Trump. Yeah, I think they wanted. Vladimir Putin blamed Hillary Clinton personally for the 2012 protests in Moscow, and for meddling in the Russian electoral process. So this might have seemed, and I haven't spoken to him, might have seemed like fair play from where he sat, and a way of sort of letting her know when she came to the presidency, you hurt me, I can hurt you, and that may have been an attempt to establish a new relationship with the person they thought was going to be president.
So you're now based in London, writing about the global order. How is that global order different in a Trump-Putin universe?
You sense a great moment of uncertainty, and you go to a place like Eastern Ukraine, and you go to a place like Kosovo, and there's a sense that nobody knows for sure how the American government would react to, let's say, another outbreak of violence in the Middle East. Is the global cop still there? Does it, when you have a president who says NATO is obsolete, who says he'd like to make friends with Vladimir Putin, who talks about people defending themselves, America first. Is the policeman still there? And if that policeman's not there, what does that mean for other players, for China, for Russia, for Turkey? If they want to push their agenda, this might seem like a very opportune time. Now, I've been saying since January, I've been writing since January, that there's this uncertainty. No one's taken advantage of it yet. And part of that is the uncertainty. I mean, Trump has, suddenly fired cruise missiles into Syria, which no one expected him to do, right? So no one knows how he'll behave, and that might mean that he could declare on Twitter that he doesn't care what happens in Eastern Ukraine, or it might mean that he's suddenly going to send the Sixth Fleet. So, but there is certainly, there's a feeling that the old rules don't apply, and no one quite knows what the new rules are yet.